Now let's look at a part disposal. So this is where you only sell a bit of an asset. So all the disposals we've had so far, we know what the asset costs us and we sell the whole thing. Now part disposal is often when you're dealing with land. I'm not saying it's only land, but quite common. Because if I've got, say, a farmer's piece of land, I might have bought 10 acres of land and I might decide to sell 2 acres of it or something like that to a property developer. Now, I can't just say, like I did with the wasting asset, that I'm going to sell 2/10 or 25/40 like I did here, because there I'm assuming that every bit of land has got the equivalent cost. And land might not have the same value throughout, because some land might be more valuable, because let's say it's got better drainage and it gets the sunlight, than other areas of the farmer's land where the drainage may not be so good. So we can't assume things have equivalent value. So what we have to do is we have to work out a proportion of the cost again. But rather than do it on a time basis, we use this formula A over A plus B. So we take in the original cost and we prorata it in current day terms. So A is the market value of the bit you're selling and B is the market value of the bit you're keeping. So you're having a proportion of the whole of the asset in current day terms. And then once I know what that is, I will then deduct that cost to work out my gain. So let's see how this works with an example here. So Robin buys 10 acres of land for £10,000. It's a non-business use asset and he sells 2 acres for £6,000. So the first thing we're going to do is sells 2 acres and we're going to write down the proceeds. So that's what he gets for his money. Okay, and we want to deduct a cost. I can't deduct the 10 grand because that's for the whole of the land and I'm only selling 2 of it. And I can't take 2/10 like I would with a wasting asset. So what I've got to do is take the whole cost, the whole 10 acres, and multiply it by A over A plus B. So if we remind ourselves what A over A plus B is, here we've got this formula. The market value of what you're selling, which effectively is the proceeds, because market value means what's it worth now, and the market value of what you've got left. So if we go down to the question, A is going to be the proceeds, and B is going to be, what have we got here? The remaining 8 acres are worth 36,000. So the whole of the land in current day term value is worth 42,000. The bit I'm selling, I've just got 6 for it. So 6 over 42 as a proportion of the historical cost will give me an amount for the land. Okay, so we're going to do that calculation and we're going to take a proportion of it and that gives me a value of 1429. Now what I've also got here is I've got some costs to sell. So incidental selling costs for 200. I don't need to proportion that. I can just take the full 200 because this is the cost to sell the 2 acres. And that gives me a net gain for the whole thing of 43.71. Now if that's all I sell that year, by the time I took my annual exemption off, I won't pay any tax. Part B is asking what is the base cost for the other 8 acres. So it's saying, well, this is the cost for the whole thing. But if I've just sold 2 acres and I say those 2 acres have got that proportionate cost, what's the cost of what's left? So all we do is we say, well, the original cost is 10. If I take off what I've sold, which is 1429, then I've got a cost left of 85.71. So if I decide to sell those 8 acres, I'll take my proceeds, whatever they are, and I will deduct that cost of 8571. All right, and that's how I'll work out my gain. Okay, so if ever you see an exam question where it talks about some land, the likelihood is that you're going to be dealing with a part disposal.